US election. What if Donald Trump loses the 2024 US elections? Today we are going to explore one of the most compelling what if scenarios in American politics. What if Donald Trump loses the 2024 elections? Now, we know Trump's influence on the Republican Party and his firm hold on millions of supporters. But just as significant are the potential ripple effects of a Trump loss, especially considering his history of questioning the election's outcomes. So, let's dig in. Background on Trump's election stance. Let's stand with some context. Since his early days in politics, Donald Trump has built a reputation not just as a powerful contender, but as someone who questions election results when they don't go his way. He didn't accept the outcome of the 2020 presidential election, calling it stolen and spurring a wave of investigation and claims. Now let's remember this isn't new for him. He questioned losing dating back to the Iowa primary in 2016. The denialism, as political analysts described it, has left a mark on the country, not just politically but culturally and socially as well. As we head into the final weeks of the 2024 election, the stakes couldn't be higher. Trump is currently in a close race with Vice President Kamala Harris. A recent poll shows them tied in a critical battleground state, with Harris slightly leading nationally. Donald Trump has once again cast doubt on the election process, telling his Michigan supporters, "If I lose, it's because they cheat." For his supporters, statements like these reinforce the message that the system is rigged, but for many others, they raise alarms. Fear of unrest and violence. So, what's the big concern here? Well, his critics fear that if Donald Trump loses, the country could see a repeat of the Capitol riot that shocked the world on January 6, 2021. Back then, Trump supporters stormed the Capitol, fueled by his claims of election fraud. Political analysts warn that if Trump loses again, we could face similar or even more widespread incidents. A recent poll reveals that nearly two-thirds of Americans believe there could be violence after this election. And this fear isn't just speculation. Trump supporters have been vocal about their readiness to defend the vote. To many political scientists, the idea of sporadic violence in states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania isn't just hypothetical, it's a real possibility that requires serious attention. Legal battles and distrust in election processes. Violence isn't the only concern. Trump and his team are already preparing for legal action. Before any ballot were cast, over 100 lawsuits has been filed, mostly by Trump's legal team. It challenges everything from voters' registration to mail-in ballots. While many of these suits may not be resolved by election day, the effect is clear. They have already sown distrust in the voting process. According to Jagran English, a political consultant, these legal skirmishes could drag on for weeks, stirring anger and potentially leading to protest or confrontation. Many people are asking, though, why so many lawsuits? Trump's strategy has often been to cast doubt on the system itself, framing any loss as a result of rigged voting practices. This could mean weeks of delay, challenges, and recounts, especially in closed states. Now imagine that chaos if these legal battles spill even into political unrest. It's a scenario that security officials are already preparing for. Washington, D.C. is heightening security as we speak. If unrest does break out, especially in key battleground states, the response could require a military or law enforcement intervention. Something more than half of Americans say that support if necessary Kamala Harris' campaign strategy and vision. On the other hand, Vice President Kamala Harris is focused on her campaign's final push, aiming to win the American people's trust. Harris, as we know, has been traveling extensively, speaking on core issues that resonate with voters across political spectrum. From reproductive rights to affordable living costs and border security, she is emphasizing policies that Americans on both sides can relate to. Harris' message is clear. She wants to be a president who works across party lines to get things done. She is also responding directly to Trump. Just last week, Harris responded to Trump's continued personal attacks by challenging him to take a cognitive test, even saying she would take one herself. This was a bold move, showcasing her willingness to face him head-on. Harris' campaign strategy is clearly about showing the contrast between herself and Trump, portraying herself as a steady, committed leader focused in unity, not division. Her team is banking on the idea that voters are tired of the discord and looking for someone who can bring stability and cooperation back to the government. The bigger picture, America's democratic process at stake. Beyond the politics of the moment, there's a deeper question here. If Donald Trump loses and contrasts the election, what does this mean for the future of democracy in America? Many experts argue that the real danger is the long-term erosion of trust in the electoral process. The US intelligence community has raised concerns about foreign actors who could use misinformation to fuel diversions. A recent declassified report warns that foreign drivers' protest and violence could disrupt the certification of electoral result. This could mean not only a chaotic aftermath, but potentially a disruption of the traditional peaceful transfer of power. The weight of the upcoming election. As we approach November 5, 2024, Americans are waiting with bated breath whether Trump or Harris. One thing is clear, this election isn't just about picking the next president. It's a test of America's democratic foundation, a test of how resilient the country is to political, legal, and social turbulence. The world is watching, and so are we. So, what will happen if Donald Trump loses? Will America see another peaceful transition of power? Or will this election set a new uncertain precedent? Stay tuned to Jagran English as we bring you updates on this high-stake election season.